Alec Panda, which I do not see. So, Cicone, I think we have a spot that opened up for you, good sir.
Okay, are we ready?
Am I saying your name wrong? I think I am. It's
Cicone.
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 Okay,
Are we ready to go?
we sure are.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I am super excited to be here. In fact, my name is Cicone Prince of CiconePrince.com, where we make motivation personal by introducing you to yourself. And I want you to understand that smiling will definitely help your inner child. My latest book is entitled Heal. Heal is an acronym for Help Elevate and Learn, and the subtitle is A Guide to Healing Your Inner Child. And I found people that have actually gone through the work to heal their inner child wounds, their inner child trauma, also have the ability to smile. When you are able to be free from the prison of your own making, when you are put yourself in a position that you can actually pour into somebody else because you've actually done the work yourself, you can not only smile yourself, but help somebody else smile. I remember a couple of years ago, I actually spent an opportunity at an event in Phoenix, Arizona, and I shared with all of the audience. I said, are you healed enough to help celebrate someone else and help them glow? The event was called GlowCon, and I wanted to make sure that people took a step back to look at themselves to see, can I clap for somebody else? Can I be happy for somebody else? And oftentimes I found that people that have a hard time doing that is because they are still wounded themselves. They have a hard time understanding and seeing why that they need to celebrate someone else, what they need to do to help somebody else. But when you've put in the work yourself, when you actually have fallen in love with you, and when you've healed yourself, it's not hard for you to see the value in someone else, especially when you see your own value. Oftentimes people compare themselves to other people. And it's hard for them to smile at the asset that they are because they see them as somewhat of a competition instead of somebody to collaborate with. When I realized that I'm not trying to be Dakota, I'm just trying to be the best Saucony I can be, then what I can do is I can actually be happy for who Dakota is. I can celebrate him because I've learned to celebrate myself. And do this through this whole process, what I've learned how to do is smile. A smile can attract the right person in your life, the right business partner, the right opportunity. It can open doors as opposed to a frown or a snarl or just a blank stare. So understanding that our emotions show up on our face should help us be more intentional about how we are presenting ourselves to the world. And I know sometimes it's hard for us to smile. I know sometimes it's hard for us to put ourselves in a position to where we can actually be that for someone else. But when you really consider that somebody did that for you, somebody sacrificed and smiled for you, somebody gave you their smile, what happens is you realize that, listen, you can pay it forward. When you realize that somebody is actually making a sacrifice to make your life better, it should cause you to realize your own value. I remember hearing this quote that says, somebody who's helping you while they are in need, that's not just a sacrifice, that's love. When they care enough about you to actually put their stuff on hold for a minute in order to meet your needs. Several years ago, I was just flipping through the channels, and I had never really seen this show, but I was flipping through the channels, and I came across a show entitled "So You Want to Be a Superhero," and it was a reality TV show, and it was hosted by none other than Stan Lee. And I said, okay, listen, I'm just going to see what this show is about. So I watched it for about maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And the episode that I came across, they had a challenge. And these people, they came up with their own superhero names, their own costumes, their own abilities, and all that kind of stuff. It was like a cosplay, but it was on a reality show. And they were had a task to run through this public park to the other side of the park to accomplish something and come back by a certain time. Because who had the quickest time, they would win the challenge. The one with the longest time, well, they got eliminated. What they didn't know is that midway through the park, they had staged this little child actor, a little girl, and she was crying, "Help, help!" And she had, she pretended to be hurt, and she needed some assistance. And at the time, at this particular episode, I think they started off with 10, and we're down to 6 people. And of those 6 that ran through the park, 4 of them ran past the little girl. They could hear, but they ran past her because they were so focused on, I got to get this done so I can win this particular event. 2 of them, 2 of them stopped what they were doing. I know I'm in the middle of this contest. I know if I stop, I'm probably going to be eliminated, but they stopped to see about this little girl. And at the end, when Stanley gave his summation, he told all of them, he said, what you're supposed to do, what a real hero does, is they see about those who are less fortunate. And that really stuck with me. It stuck with me because it shows how we ought to be. I know we have our own challenges, we have our own weights. There are so many things that we're facing and dealing with. But can we look out and see somebody else who needs a smile? Somebody else who needs some encouragement? Can we put our stuff on pause just for a minute to help somebody else? And I know some of you saying, well, okay, some people's stuff is lighter than mine, and that's true. But if you consider it from their standpoint, it's heavier. Somebody once told me that puppy love is the world to the puppy, meaning that when you're young and you're in love and you just starting out, it means the world to you. Now, of course, you get older and you realize just how that was your introduction to what love was. But at that time, it meant the world to you. So it hurt like hell just to actually go through a situation where you lost somebody that you cared about. But understanding that, even as a parent, I know with our children, when they come to me with a situation like that, I have to consider, okay, I'm not looking at it from my standpoint, I'm going to look at it from theirs. So I can share with them that you will smile again. You will learn a lesson from this, and you will be able to move forward and to keep going in the direction that you were meant to go. So smiling is so important, but we also have to make sure that we are healed in order to do that. Some people pretend to smile. When the camera's on, they're smiling. When people are interviewing them, they're smiling. But you see them in the car in traffic. You see them at home or just walking somewhere. You see them sitting at a coffee shop and their face, their content. And I'm not saying we're supposed to be smiling all the time, but I'm saying that are we in a place? Are we healed enough to share our smile with someone else? Are we healed enough to see the needs around us? Are we healed enough to smile at the person that's next to us on the train? Most of us are looking at our electronic devices, and I've made a conscious decision to put mine down, especially when I'm in public, especially when I'm in a place where I can meet new and exciting people, because that's how connections are made, and those connections can lead to amazing opportunities. But those also start with a smile, with a handshake, with an interest in what that person does, not just always talking about who you are and what you have to do. Let's hear about what it is you do. How can you help me? How can I help you? How can we help each other? But all of that comes across with a smile. So I want to encourage you today. I want to challenge you. Find somebody that you don't even know that you can smile at today. Just share a smile with them. Strike up a conversation. Be as nice as you can because the world needs more of that. We live in a society where we need more love, more enthusiasm, more optimism, and yes, more smiles. So I want to encourage you today. Go out and do that. Find somebody and then challenge somebody else to do the same. To share their smile with somebody else. And if you don't have anything to smile about, give them a reason. You're still here. You're still living. I know it may not be
Well,
the way you want it to be, but it's good.
and a smile can be infectious as well.
Yes, it
And it
can.
will, and once it infects one person, that person's going to infect another person, and so on and so forth. And that's why
Yes,
it's so important to smile.
yes.
And I love your message, good sir. It really touches me as well because I've got a lot of stuff that I had to heal for and that I'm still not healed over. So, and I can hear it in your voice and I can relate very well, good sir.
That's why I wrote the book and turned the book into a podcast. because there are so many people that they honestly need to hear their inner child. So,
Hmm.
yeah. Well, do we have any questions, comments, or criticisms? I take them all.
I wouldn't say criticisms in any way, shape, or form, good sir. You were waiting very patiently too.
Well, well, I am grateful for this opportunity. I want to thank Dr. Smiley. I want to thank you, Dakota, for what you're doing and for everybody who's participated. I've been watching off and on. In fact, yesterday I got up early today to be on this, but it's well worth it because I know somebody is going to watch this and it's going to make an impact on their life. And that's really why I'm here. Because like I said before, my name is Cicone Prince of CiconePrince.com, where we make motivation personal by introducing you to yourself. And I want to thank y'all again for allowing me to be on.